So, hi everyone, welcome to this homework review video. And before I start with reviewing the class, reviewing the assignments, I wanted to tell about the new assignment for next week. So I don't know if you watched the last video about painting, where I drew this ball and I showed how to make all these other balls. So the assignment for next week is to start with drawing a basic ball like this, and then try to make some balls with different materials. And it can be wood, or that can be maybe fire, or stone, or metal, or maybe some texture like a fabric, like clothing, or something, or wool. Or maybe it's a sheep fur. So try to come up with some fun stuff. But yeah, the first start, especially when you're starting out with digital painting, start out with this ball and look at the last video lesson for some more information about this and some more examples. And then you can send that to my email address and give it the title Color Balls. And preferably send one image, a JPEG or PNG, before 4 July. So I have it in time to review. So I'm now doing this lesson live, and I think I said 10 a.m., but I meant 10 p.m. So I want to give more live lessons, and but I'm still looking on how and when, and I'm planning that there will be something like a schedule somewhere, so you can see when the live lessons are. So let's start with the first homework from Hendrik, and he sent a character, and that's fine. So if you want me to review something else than the assignment because you don't like painting balls or you don't like drawing environments, then you can and then you can do a different a different homework assignment for me to review, so that you can focus on the things you want to learn. So Paul, you don't have any audio. You're saying that privately in the group, but I think everyone that's live can hear me, right? So let's put this down. And oh, sorry, I'm typing something to the group. Okay, audio should be okay. Let's look at this character. So put this on. Paul, I don't know. I can't really help you now with that. You can maybe try to log in again. So let me look at this character. Can we change? Maybe the pose looks a bit symmetrical. So what I would maybe do is maybe push that action line maybe a bit like this. Then maybe make this head more like this. And also, what is he doing? It looks like he's watching at someone, so maybe he's looking at someone like this. So think about that head construction like this. And put it here. So something like this. And maybe we can, so she's making a twist. So maybe the hair, so I'm always drawing the hair as a one big shape. So now it goes like this. So because of the twist, I want to get in there. So I'm going to draw this neck. So it pushes a bit outwards. And then we can draw this body. So maybe push this a bit backwards as well. And then maybe their leg is going like this, and the other leg goes like this. So maybe something here, and then maybe this arm we can put up here, and then we have some place for shortening. So there's a bit more depth in the drawing. Maybe a bit over the arm, something like this. And then that other arm can be this, or maybe she's waving or something else. A bit pushed too much. So and think of how the dress would go, something like this. Then we can use those wings. Maybe those wings should move. So what we maybe can do is make some. Okay, so when you're painting it, maybe you can use some blur. And maybe if you like to keep drawing on this drawing, maybe you can maybe for next week you can try to paint this character if you want, or doing the balls, the balls assignment, because drawing those balls is also a really good practice. So I've made this, and sometimes I flip my drawing to see if everything works. Check the silhouette if it's clear. So then I take this drawing and put the opacity a bit lower, and then I start sketching. So I draw on top of that drawing, making those eyes. This. Think of how everything works in 3D, so that it's built on top of these shapes. Maybe give her these cute freckles around her nose, and then make her mouth. So, something like this. So I liked that you have the twist in that head, because that's making for a more interesting composition. So here, then maybe this hair to also go a bit like this, and then also this one moves a bit like this, and then the ear goes like this. Maybe I want to make the neck a bit longer. So I just make a selection of the head, a little bit up, so I can make this color. So I want to avoid tangents. So I do here distance and here, so you have this a bit. So I'm drawing through to see where it should go to. I don't know, something like this. I'm not really happy with that, but let's keep going. Then we have this clothing here, and a little bit about drawing clothing, and later I will make a tutorial about that. After the painting tutorials, I want to pick up drawing characters again, and then I will also do drawing clothing. So maybe making here this, and maybe it's cool if you have this here, and then you can draw this arm. So also try to avoid drawing arms like this, unless you're drawing The Simpsons. If you're drawing an arm in a more Disney style or a more hand-drawn style, you can better make these areas around the poles narrower. So you have this nice contrast between between the shoulder and the elbow. Of course, the elbow, the arms are up also a bit more thick than down. And also here I'm using a straight line and here an S line. And maybe we can use that bracelet to suggest some movement there as well. So to make the drawing come a bit to life. We have this. And you can make this a bit more like this. Maybe make this even bigger. So then we have this. Here the legs go this way. So here's the femur. So the force goes that way. So there's this twist in the dress. So maybe something like this. So I'm first drawing the big shape. And when I have that big shape, I add those leaves. And I want those leaves to move that way. I hope that works. So I want to have this kind of movement in it. Yeah, something like this. Erased again. And here. Here. You see a bit of a hint here. This one also moves back. Maybe this one needs to be a bit loose like this here. I don't know, it looks not really how I want it still. But normally I would maybe make a bit more time for that to fix it. But the point is that I want to make this twist here with so maybe also here. Maybe you want to make those also bigger shapes like this here. There, going a bit like this. a hard dress to draw with these leaves. And then these feet. So something like this here. Then open this up, that's cool. And then this other leg that goes like this. But what I would also advise you to do is story. Who is he? What is he doing? What is he looking at? So it would be more powerful if she's maybe waving, because then at least there's a bit of action and reaction in it. So she's doing something. So here I'm wondering why is she looking at or something. And here you can at least see, oh, here she's waving at something. Maybe it would even be more more cool if you draw this. How does a bird looks like? Draw this bird. So here we're drawing this bird at this. So you look up some birds. Here. Some flex here, and then here maybe draw these little feet. And if you're in the chat and you have any question, let me know. If it's a small question or something about this, I can treat it. And or I can use the question at the end of the lesson. If you want to draw me something else or ask me something. So I don't know. You could add some more story to it, but yeah, now at least there is something happening and you can add more to it. So try to think a bit more about who is he, what is he doing there. It should be for something who doesn't know her. The viewer should be able to answer some question, or that at least it makes the drawing more interesting to look at. And think of those, try to make it less symmetrical. And you can do that by creating movement and using Geshe. So thank you, Henrik. So let's look to Anam work. So which one? I want to take this one. So let's open this one and draw on top of it. So first decide where is the horizon line. So I see all these different lines going to different points. So try So here you can see that all these points convey to different place. So I think for you, good to focus on getting the perspective right. And I would go for this point because you want the horizon line and not in the middle. So let me take the line tool and let's add some lines. So here, let's add one here. Let's add one here, 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 here. So also for the stones here and there. So let's start with that. So maybe we can give him a color. So in Photoshop, Control U. Then I'm using this tool to give the lines a different color. And now I'm going to sketch on top of it. So let's start with this point. So you just start with picking one point out. So this one looks yeah, worked really well. And we have this point. Then we follow the perspective. Should be more in the middle actually. But maybe I want to make this a bit longer. And let's make this then a bit wider. So I'm seeing some new people who are joining. Awesome. Welcome. So now here we have this line, and now we can add this wall. So the stair goes there. So, but we can measure how big it should be. So if one person is standing here, I think we want the horizon, the same height as the person is standing here. So we're drawing this person here. So in that case, the stair will be something like this here. But then if this person is standing here, like this point, person should be as big as this, because if you put the perspective, he would be here. So now we know the size of that character there, and then I see that bridge should be a bit higher. We can just do it like this. I think that will be cool. So then we have that here, and then so something like this. So then we know how big the person is. So we can put him on top of that bridge. Then we know that this needs to be high as this here. So Then we know that this line goes here, and now we can see that this stair goes a bit like this. So it should be here. So you can also see it's here parallel. Let's just sketch it in here. So I think this size would be something. So would be something like this. And if you want this, that. So here. Yeah, it's really handy to put those characters in sizes. Was it clear, Murray? You know how I did that? So if something is unclear in the video, please let me know. Because then I know that I need to take a bit more time for it. Sometimes I want to do it a bit quickly, so or else the videos will get super long. And they already are pretty long, I guess. So we can also figure out the size of this here. So we know that. So we know that the stair goes here. And I've shown that with drawing the roof tutorial. Yeah, in perspective, it's just all these tricks. And some of these tricks I'm really like, yeah, but how it works, but I don't get it why it works. So, but who cares? It's if it works and it's not that difficult to do, then it's perfect, right? So maybe make this really high wall, so something like this. So maybe we can make some big. Maybe we can also make some pattern on it. So maybe some line here. So I'm making this cross going through here. Then I know this, this, this. So then you can guess the distance a bit. So let's now just eyeball it. So on this, because this, I think this wall is some sort of fortification. So we also have that here. Maybe there's this. Maybe there's this small tower here. To look out for the enemies. Maybe there's also this. Maybe it needs to be higher. Something like this. Using a bit of this design of there. Some line here. So also for stone tiles, you can use this perspective. You don't have to draw them all. So I think you can just, and these lines go here and the stair goes here. So, but that's, yeah. So don't draw the stair and these bricks the same direction as that stair. So now we can draw those stairs. You could also calculate how those would, the size would be from those things, but yeah, that would take a lot of time. So sometimes also, how crazy do you want to go with perspective? Because you could calculate everything. So in the book I'm releasing next month, and if you're a Patreon patron, then you will get the book for free with subscription. And in the book's also about how to calculate all these things and more. So now let's draw these buildings in it. So here we have a building. Here we have a small building. It's great to use all these different sizes. Let's take this one. I really like this roof here. So maybe there's this going here. Then we have this building going here. And there's this tiny house here. So this was really, you did a good job with this wall. This one is totally, it's really correct. Maybe you can draw this big tower in the distance. And also for this one, think of the perspective. You would look in these circles. So here and here. And then you would have this circle here. Also be here. And you have this small circle here. It should be something like this here. So it's really quickly. And maybe you can make some other small buildings. You can have a bit in the really light value in the distance. So maybe you can add some doors. And you can notice those buildings are really small. So maybe no, I'm just doing all the video homework, and then I see how long it takes, and I try to keep it between 1 hour, 2 hours long. So I want to, you guys are supporting me, so I want to give something back for that. So I'm putting as much time in it as I can. So here we have this door. Make it a bit wider. So maybe you could add some, maybe it's cool to also add some jars. Maybe there's a jar fallen. Maybe there's a barrel here. Maybe there's a balcony sticking out, something like this. Small balcony, it's a bit round. So now I'm sketching really roughly. Then you can figure out the size of this character. Will be there, so this balcony should be a bit lower. So you can make a window. Maybe we can add some story or characters. So maybe there's this. Maybe it's a bakery or something. So bread sign. And maybe there's this big this thing here, selling bread. It also helps to, if you add something here in the front, for example, there's a barrel. For some reason, I almost draw barrels in the foreground with maybe apples. Maybe it's market or something. So then there's these shops. So here it's clothing, so something like this. Maybe there's some clothes with stuff on it. Maybe there's a beggar here. Give me money. And there's some more stuff here, and maybe there's some more balconies here. There's these windows. Maybe there's a window here, and there's clothing hanging outside, something like that. So all these details. Maybe there's this. How do you say this? Chimney, smoke going like this. Maybe there's these. Maybe there are also some clouds here, some birds. And I try to make some play around with the direction. So here we have this character. So maybe this character should have a bit of a reading role. Maybe there's yeah. Where should we put some? So this point of interest. So maybe it would work if we draw someone. But we want to tell a bit of a story here. So maybe there's this person that is running to that, and then we can draw here someone pursuing that character or something. Maybe that's cool. So yeah, I think I covered quite some things on your drawing. So at least try to draw, work on your perspective. Maybe try to draw this drawing again with the with the tips I gave, and look up some of the tutorials about perspective drawing. And next month I will release the new book, and that patrons will get it. So let's look at Rob. So with these drawings, so cool. The banana perspective and this one. So let's take this one, put it over here, put it down, make this one here. Let's put the horizon line, or first let's see where the vanishing points are. So here and here. And it's really useful to learn to draw these perspective lines out of freehand, because that way it's way quicker, and you also get this more more dynamic feeling. Because if you're doing too much perspective, it gets a bit too much too loose. And I find this too symmetrical, this one. So what I would advise, to push this one a bit in, so it's less symmetrical. And also maybe think of, so here's the horizon line. And I would also think about what do you want to make a shot, or do you want to make some overview? But I think it would also be cool if we maybe make some kind of just let's keep working on this one then, like this. So now we have this. Let's add some buildings here. Balcony go. Okay. Deleting this a bit, and here a bit. So what you can also do is, if you don't want to draw these points in the distance, you can do this: divide, 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 and then here divide, 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 and connect these dots. And then you also know the perspective, and you don't have to draw the whole the whole grid. So you guys in the chat see what I'm doing? So you don't have to draw these lines to the finishing point, because I divide this part and divide this. So then you know where those lines need to be. So let's start by drawing this building here. So big shapes first. So here you have this building here. And then we have this building here. So I'm now also drawing with a loosely 3-point perspective, but I'm just eyeballing it. I just want to, and that's great about drawing cartoony. You can just, yeah, you can play around with that. So it doesn't have to be perfect for cartoony. It's even stronger when it's more, if there's these little mistakes in it. Making it a bit wonky. So I want to divide this in 3. So what I can do is I'll take this, divide this in 3. So now, yeah, something like this. So then here, this window here where the character is looking from. But I think you did a good job on the perspective. It's also here. This perspective here. This chimney. Maybe there's some smoke coming out of it. So here we have these windows. So there's actually not that much space for door, so maybe we can add this here. Maybe we don't have to draw this side because he's looking that way. Maybe you can draw an extra building here, and then there's also less symmetry. So maybe there's some someone saying, "Oh, marry me." Maybe I'm making that connection because I'm just married. So let's put this character here. So let's put make this a bit wider. No, I liked it that it was here. So let's add the door here. And there's only one window here. Maybe it would be better if why is he in the middle? Why isn't he in the top? Like here, hanging. So like this. And there we have these little buildings here. This here. Maybe like this. So now I have this sketch, and now we can start working a bit on it. And so you don't have to draw all these perspective lines. So just make these really simple figures. So this is his girl of his dreams. So it's hanging out of that window. And the proportions don't make any sense, but if that's what you want, it doesn't matter that much. If you just want to make some funny, cartoony illustration. So here maybe this is a window. So try to construct those windows a bit. So like here, there's this inside, think of the perspective line. And then here this character is looking up. It's holding this box. So maybe it shines. So now we want to, so this line is perfect because it is like an arrow going like this or this. So that's awesome. Same with this chimney. This chimney is also pointing to her like an arrow. Also construct a chimney like this here, like these blocks. Maybe here these things are going outside here. So then we can use the smoke of the chimney pointing to her. So going like this. So now it's all pointing to this. And she's looking at him. Maybe these things constructed a bit. Maybe making some grass here, stuff. And just add some more stuff here. Don't make this all too extreme. And of course you can construct all these windows just like these ones. So here's this door. Here's the window. And here's another building. Maybe there's this fence here. And here we have this. This is also great. It's also like it's pointing to him. So maybe you can even use those stones here to point at him. So here this line is also pointing to him. And this one as well. Then this line is maybe pointing to her, so make it this angle maybe. And we have this line going here. So maybe there's this window. This window line is also pointing to him here. I'm trying to make all these little things. So maybe there's this water pipe that's going. Then it looks like it's out of his head. Let's not do that. These things. So like this, here door, here window. So something like this, maybe here building, maybe here small building, maybe here an even smaller building. We can push this perspective a bit more. So like that. Same here. So I'm using this tool to do that. Here as well. So if you want to push the perspective more, you can just use the transform tool. It's not always working that well, but especially when you're sketching and drawing on top of it. So yeah, something like this. Let's look at the banana perspective. So let's draw really quickly the banana perspective on top of that. So here, I think it goes a bit crazy, but I love, on the one side, I really like that it's freehand. So it gives it really weird feeling. Maybe you can also use it here. So sometimes I'm really sketching like this to sketch the perspective like this here. But then if I would draw this couch, then it should follow this line. And we should go here's the perspective of this point. There's some finishing point going that way. So you can do it really messy and yeah, and it works. So maybe here we have this couch. It's going following that point. So something like this. Then we have this wall going like this. And here. So the wall goes maybe like this. Let's show a bit of this wall. This wall here, 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 and then we have this door that is like this. Then we have this window. The inside of the window, so like this. I think this really gives this cool effect. So and then you can keep just drawing on top of that sketch, and then also here you draw the horizon line here, which should be then here. So you should see the houses depending on how big they are. You should be something like this, or maybe the houses probably are like this because it's a street, I guess. So here. So that's. So thanks, Rob. Let's see at Enders. And I really need to take a quick break, and I'll be back in 10 seconds. So, hi everyone. Yeah, the fisheye. In the last lesson, or the lesson before the last lesson, was about that fisheye. So let's look at this drawing. Let's make this bigger, smaller. I personally would choose for maybe different ratio. I think the perspective is okay, and design is cool. Maybe, yeah. Let's first make this 1/3 perspective. We didn't talk about that, so that is also great to talk a bit about. So then we have this, make this wider. Make this one like this. So cut this out. So here. So now this is the 1/3 frame. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to change some things about your drawing. Don't mind me doing that. Let's take this building and put it maybe here. Maybe something like this here. Put this down on the ground. So this one's really high. And maybe this one is more here. This one is more smaller. Hard. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Maybe sketching a bit. So there, I want to draw on the house here. Yeah, I'm going to upload this video. I'm doing that every week. And maybe there's this. Smaller one that is here. Put this a bit lower, this a bit higher. We can move this one all the different in the distance. Make this one like this. So what I'm now doing is, these are the rule of thirds. So I have this frame and I divide it in thirds. So here, 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 here. Then you get these points, and our eye tends to go to one of these points. So if we put an interesting thing here and an interesting thing here, you get this composition. And if you put two things interesting here, it's at the same height. So, but if you here, you get this game between these things. So that's why I place it there. And I like that this tree is going, that's really good, that this tree is laying here down on its back and pointing that way. Maybe you can make it a bit more clear that it's a tree that is falling. Maybe add some branches here to show that. So now I'm just figuring out stuff. So here, maybe there's this, maybe there's another tree just fallen like this. But why are the trees fallen? Is it maybe because of wind or something? What you can also do is, maybe it would be clear if you do this. So there's this tree, this old tree branch here. So something like this. Then you can add some bushes here. So it's also to avoid symmetry. So here you have here this thing and here this thing. I think it would be interesting if you have here and then you have this thing here. So here's the horizon. So the perspective will be here. So which one is most important? I think this one is the most important. So we're drawing the perspective on that grid. So also add it here. And then there's maybe, yeah, then there's also this other perspective point going there. So something like this. And then just keep drawing on top of it. So maybe adding this here. Maybe there's this. How do they come up? How do they get there in? Are it birds or something? If they are birds, then I would make it even a bit higher, and then you can think of that perspective. So the perspective is also pushed here, so you get this more interesting, interesting perspective. So maybe add it here. So this plane. So maybe there's these branches on top of it, going like this. I think it's cool if you have maybe some leaves going out. Some leaves or things. And then we have this roof. Something like that. But this one should be a bit smaller. The size scale doesn't work that great anymore. So there needs to be this contrast. Maybe make this one a bit bigger. So like this. So you get this real size contrast. Also, maybe you can add this. There's a tree coming here. Maybe this maybe a bit too much. Maybe you can also do it like that. And maybe add some more trees here. Trees. So and then here we have these mountains. It's cool that they're also pointing a bit to that. Here another mountain. And here. And I would go for one type of tree and try to make those in a bit of different. So I would go for all these type of trees, or choose for those trees. Maybe you can make. Maybe there's a road, or maybe there's this water. Maybe it's better if we do this. So there's water here. Here's a stone in the water, and see this water flowing around. Maybe here are flowers or something. So now we have the 1/3 perspective helping us. So we get this and this. And it's almost a rectangle, you see. And then we have this is also almost going like this. And then here we also have these mountains go like this. This river is going like this. This tree branch going like this. This bush. So we have all these different direction things. So yeah, great work, Anders. Keep it up. It's really awesome to see you keep growing. So Nienke, hi Nienke. So yeah, this really awesome, nice one. So let's draw on top of it. The perspective is really spot on. So now it's time to start drawing in details, and maybe you can add some. I guess you're Dutch, so maybe we can add some person cycling. So So I would, I'm now guessing the size. But I think it's fun if you add some more story in it. So maybe there's some birds here. There's some birds. It's spring. Maybe it's so it's spring, and maybe it's a love couple bicycling through the street. So something like this. Oh, and he also talked about reading directions. So maybe I'm just, it's because they're going from left to right. That's the most logic. I think here, this cool tree, so that's great. But this one is also, it's the same size, it's the same, it's almost the same direction. So I like this tree. It's going like this, so I won't change it. Maybe I would put it out of frame. So let's draw this frame like this. And then you can make this. So always draw a frame actually. So then you can add this tree going like this. So we have this foreground here. And also think about the rule of thirds. So here and here. So maybe we can put those cycling people here. So they're in this point. Then maybe we can play around with this tree. Put this tree here. So they're also a bit framed in the tree. So here. Then maybe we can put those birds maybe here. So you have this thing, and then maybe, this tree is really cool because that's aiming at the birds. Maybe using the leaves to frame those birds a bit. I think this can really become a cool drawing. So this is really cool. I want to make it. So then we can add those here, add those buildings here. So, and then you get this drawing. So here, these buildings are all great. Maybe you can come on some sunlight. So that there's some sunlight shining on them. So something like this. It's cute, right? So maybe you can even give them a bit of rim light of the sun then. So yeah, but great work. So I think you really are good with the perspective and stuff and then the drawing, but I would give you one tip, and that is story. What do you want to tell, Nienke? So thanks. You can never ask some silly questions. Everything is good to ask. So, and yeah, no problem if you have to leave. You can watch it back. Thanks for joining. Bye. So let's go to Sarah and she did these movie studies. So that's great. Yeah, you can send the exercise to me. I gave my email in the beginning of this email, so you can send those. So let's look at these movie studies. So keep doing that. And one thing, try to be a bit more loose in these studies like this, Sarah. So here we have this character. Yeah, so each week I do a lesson and a homework video. And so yeah, then you get these reviews. Yeah, you can send the first one as well, just what you want. So here we have this dino. So going like this. So I think you can be way more loose. Try to relax a bit with drawing and try to draw in these big shapes. Don't copy the drawing, but try to think of how it's constructed. And here you can, it's really interesting because here you see these lines. And here, this one is open. Here we have this fence. And he's open, and it's also all going his way. This car is also pointing to him. It's such a great cinematic movie. Then we have these leaves here, so that's great. So also try to see those things. So here we have these three mountains, and they go to this character. And also here we have this river. It's also pointing to him, to these characters. And also here, these clouds are also more or less pointing this direction, and here as well. So my advice for you will be, Sarah, so great that you did these studies. Be more rough. And try to think more about the underlying rules. So try to look for the rhythm and the big shapes, how to build up. But these are really great to do. So great study. So keep doing this. So then the last from Barry. And I see Barry is here. So that's great. So let's put this one here. And then this one here. So let's go draw on top of it. And I don't have to even do that. I can just do it like this. So there's a lot of direction, so that's cool. You have these clouds, and what you can do with these clouds is all a bit the same size. So what I would advise is to maybe make one big one like this. And then maybe make two. Maybe there's one coming from behind those mountains. Maybe a small one here. And then we have this thing here. It's going like this. This one is pointing towards this. And here. Then we have this line, horizon line going like this. So it's on 1/3. Then we have these mountains here. So this one here. So this one pointing that way. Then here. Then we have this really big building. It's cool that it's there. So, but I would put it a bit into the perspective. We have these things. So maybe we can make these really bigger. Maybe it's going like this. So I would remove this one. And here we have these characters. Maybe they're coming from behind or something, that they're going from this point. So like this, to add some more, to play around with the symmetry. And then you can make these crosses going here. Maybe even one cut off by the frame. Maybe you can make one cross going here. I think it would be nice. So, and I would put this character a bit more here. So like here, there's a bit more space between this, because you want to, especially with the things that are important for the story, you want them to be put a bit here. And yeah, put a bit of a margin between them. I would make this a bit higher, because then it's also here, there's a bit more space here. So maybe I would also make it a bit more wider, so you get more this cinema screen, and then you also have some space to put stuff here. Maybe a bit less. But yeah, it's cool that this, here we have this 1/3, and here maybe we can here see people waiting in line like this. And here we have this character, and then that line. So yeah, nice composition. These are just some small tweaks to improve it, but you're really drawing well. So I think it's just these small things. So watch out for symmetry. So try to make more asymmetry, and yeah, think about a bit about that you don't draw the characters too close, the important characters too close to the edge. So this is too close. Leave them some space, some breathing space. Oh, you made also another one. I saw 2 emails from you. I can quickly do it. No, I don't see any value one. No, I only have these 2 sketches. Maybe you can send them for next week, Barry. So I only got 2 emails with this this drawing. So I think this lesson was already quite long. So thanks everyone for watching. And could you draw the values on top of us on screen? Yeah, I can go shortly about values. So what I would do, is there something you find hard with values, Barry? So here, what I would do is I make the things in close quite dark, and the things that go more into the distance less dark. So now I made a multiplier layer on top of it, and adding some, and things that are in the distance can be a softer value. So here, maybe something like this. So what I want to tell about that is that you have this foreground element. You can select it like this. Maybe you want to make that a bit darker or something. Then you can play around with sunlight to get some contrast on it. So maybe there's this lighting on top of it, and then you get this really big contrast here. Maybe there's this hard shadows or something, and then we have then so this is then the foreground, and this is then the middle ground. So you use, for example, this is 80 to 100 black or something, and this is then 30 to 80 blackness, and this is a bit lighter, maybe 0 to 30. Is it better to do first draw in the gray to know the value? Especially when you're starting out. So if you're learning value, it's really great to first focus on getting those values right, and then later I personally draw colors right away, but I would first advise to first focus on values. And what you can do is that once you've made all those values, you can add a color layer, and then you can add the colors. It's sometimes only really hard to get all the colors right, but there are a lot of artists doing that. And the big useful thing about doing the values first is that you can you can first learn to improve on that, because values are more important than colors. So here, let's put this saturation in the back and then lower, something like this. But yeah, it's so if you were to do 3 colors, how would you do them? Yeah, I would choose a color for the, maybe what you could do is that it's you can make everything a bit orange or something. So maybe there's this color, and then you have this I don't know if it totally works, but that you use some morning color, so yellow. It's really strange. Maybe I put this on overlay. If you really want to make it evil or something, but I would maybe try to go for a color scheme, maybe at yellow, something. What is the, maybe we can use some blue or purple for the evil things or something, that you have these characters. Maybe you can try to do something like that, but of course you can also do green grass. There's also a bit of different value, and then there's blue sky, and then you have a color for the characters, and that can be maybe purple or something. So, and then you can maybe do light purple or a bit of a gray purple for the building in distance. No, not per se, but it's good to look into that. But that will be for another lesson. So thanks everyone. So thanks for watching, and now I will close. So I hope to see you next time again. So thanks everyone. Bye.